Welcome back to our channel. My brother Mike has been gracious enough to let me do the intro today. So today we're going to be reviewing two noteworthy natives, the green buttonwood and the silver buttonwood, which we have here in front of us.
Yes, we are.
Mike, take it away.
We are so happy that you've joined us today. These are super tough Florida natives for your South Florida garden. So we're going to be talking about how you can take care of them and use them in your garden. So, family, are you guys ready to dig in?
Sure am.
Let's go. Okay, so first up is the green buttonwood, which goes by the botanical name Conocarpus erectus. And what are we going to do next, Amy?
We're going to have Stephanie talk about the characters and features of this particular beauty.
So the first is the leaves. It's a deep green glossy leaf.
Yeah, really cool. Lanceolate in shape, really densely packed too across the stems. It's just a dynamite Florida native. Really cool.
Next is the shape. It is a large shrub or a medium-sized tree.
Yep. This one here has 3 trunks coming out, so this will be more of a shrub type. If you're going to purchase one for a shrub use in your home, you want to get one that's multi-trunk. But if you get a single leader or a single stem, you can get this as a small tree. So as a shrub, it'll get to about 8 to 10 feet tall, and as a tree, it can easily get up to about 25-30 feet by 25 feet across. Really cool.
Big.
Yeah.
Next is the growth.
Yep.
It is a fast tree that provides a sense of instant gratification and transforms your garden in no time.
Yep.
That's right.
Which makes Amy happy because you can get this thing will form a hedge so fast, you all. The green buttonwood in particular, wow, it's a really fast grower, and it's also another 2 things that I really love. Right,
Next,
Steph?
it has a very high salt tolerance and drought tolerance.
Love that about this. Actually, both of them. These guys, this actually is, they sometimes call this the false mangrove. It's super drought tolerant and salt tolerant. Salt spray is not going to be an issue for this plant at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
really cool. That's what we really like about
area.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can plant these on the barrier islands.
Excellent.
That's why it's a native.
So now, and so now we're moving on to, we talked a little bit about garden uses. So plant
Stephanie.
care. That's up to Rachel now, right?
All right.
This is in hardiness zone 10 to 11.
Right, so this wants to be below Stewart, below Tampa even, and along the coast, and then down here in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Miami, Naples. These guys will do great there, yeah. But it doesn't really like super cold when you get to Central Florida and up. No, that's the only downside.
So just like I have preferences, this plant has light preferences, and it prefers full sunlight, but it can do with a little shade.
Yep, can handle a little bit of shade. Won't get as tall, won't grow as fast. So you can actually plant this if you have a place in your yard, if you want to grow them as a hedge, a screening hedge or a privacy hedge. You can have, sometimes you have a tree in a neighbor's yard or your own, palms overhead, and you'll have some dapple light, and other areas will be full sun. This plant will adapt throughout the space. So it's really cool in that regard as this Florida native, yeah.
When you first introduce this plant to your garden, it will need a little bit more water, so you're going to water deeply once or twice a week, and then only as needed.
Yep.
And that's for the first year for the water.
Yeah, during establishment is the main time this plant will need watering, and that's just like Rachel said, you want to have it water well. But after a while, you don't even necessarily need to irrigate these as they take off because they're so drought tolerant. Super tough in that regard. Yes, many regards. I keep saying regard. There's a lot. My regards to this plant. Yeah, so what's the other stuff we want to talk about, Rach?
Okay, so this is a very adaptable plant that does well in a lot of different soils, but its favorite is a well-drained, sandy loam.
Yes, so that means something that has a little bit of organics but wants to drain well, and that's important. But these are adaptable. I've seen these planted in mucky areas and they do okay. They're just so resilient, If there's 2 resilient plants that we want as a takeaway for you guys today, it's these 2. These 2 Florida natives are super powerful, tough natives. Yeah, very resilient to so many things. And we're going to be talking about another one, which is what?
So because they're so resilient, they don't really need fertilizer, but if you have a not very well draining soil, you can use a well-balanced fertilizer.
Yeah, if your soil just tends to have no nutrients at all, and it's just really really void of anything, like just direct sand, you could add some fertilizer, a 10-10-10 slow release. Also check with your city on when you fertilize, because there's issues of fertilizer getting into water bodies and causing blooms, algae blooms, and we want to avoid that if we can. And another thing we want to mention is,
so for pruning, you mostly only have to prune to fit your garden style. But if you want to prune for plant health, just prune lightly. It's not really required.
And the last thing, one more thing on pruning, if I may, Rachel, is cross branching. On any of the two plants here, if you have any cross branching, you want to prune those away so you don't have the plant rubbing itself as it grows. It can create a weak point, break in a windstorm.
And then for
The last one,
pests, it's not really bothered by pests, but it can be fixed, if so, with organic methods that
Yes.
Uncle Mike will elaborate on.
yes, these don't really have many pests, and we'll talk more on the silver buttonwood about pests. Show you about that, but there's aphids and scale. Wax scale can be an issue with them, but they're so hardy. They just, if they do get them, they handle them, and you don't necessarily need to add an insecticidal soap or neem oil to control them. Only if you get a really bad infestation. But they're, again, super resilient. Florida native. Doesn't all the things we just mentioned on the plant care. It can adapt to many different regions and many different types of soils, many different types of light conditions. It can even handle, when you give it regular irrigation, it's not going to shock out or anything, but it prefers not to. And why spend money on irrigating a hedge if you don't really need to, and it does its thing, you know?
Absolutely.
So with that, I think we covered, you did an ace job, Rachel, just saying. Amy's okay as my sister, but Rachel's crushing it, Stephanie's crushing it. And I think, what are we going to do now? Second up, we're moving on. We're moving on.
The Silver Buttonwood.
Silver Buttonwood, yes.
And Mike, what's the botanical name?
This botanical name, it's crazy. It's very similar to the other one, but it's Conocarpus erectus variety sericeus. So Conocarpus erectus variety sericeus. And it is another wonderful Florida native, cousin to this green buttonwood, but so different, right? What's we're going to talk about next?
Stephanie's going to talk about the characters and the features.
Yes. So let's slide over. There you go, Steph. Now let's talk about this. The first one.
The first one is the leaves. It has a super unique silver-gray leaves.
Right? Beautiful. And we'll bring you up close so you can see, but they're so cool.
These leaves are velvety-soft.
They almost look
Feel
like
it.
they
Come on,
got
tell
a
me,
little
right?
fur on them.
Amy,
Yeah,
you tried it earlier, right?
yeah, they almost look like
Doesn't
they
it?
got a little.
Are they fuzzy?
They
Fuzzy.
actually have little hairs, and that's one of the things that keep it from drying out. So that's what makes this, and I'm giving away the ghost here a little bit, super drought tolerant. By the way, we hope the wind isn't crushing the sound here. We have wind cancellation on our mics. We just hope that it's not going to create a havoc for you, because it's quite a windy day out there. So thanks for bearing with us. But Stephanie, let's talk more about the plant's features.
It has a shape, it's a large shrub or a small tree.
Yeah. So if we like the green buttonwood, the silver buttonwood can be a hedge, but it prefers to be more in a sunny location to keep this bright silvery green color to her leaves. It's still densely packed. If you want a tree type, you typically want a center leader, a single stem. These are, like I mentioned earlier, are multi-stem. But this will get to a little bit smaller, 7 to 9 feet as a hedge, but it can also form a small tree, 20 to 25 feet tall. We'll show you a video of some here so you get an idea of how they look. Really cool. They have this nice twisting, branching habit, right?
Next is the growth. It's moderately fast.
Yes. Not as fast as the green buttonwood though. Yeah.
And then the last is a very high salt and drought tolerance.
Yeah. Very, very high salt spray like the green buttonwood. I want to say that the silver buttonwood is a little more salt tolerant than the green buttonwood, but I've seen them both on coastal areas, mangroves and other areas on the barrier islands, and they both do great. Silver buttonwood though is a beast on drought tolerance. Really is. Really is.
Okay. Did we cover garden uses, or
We covered some of them, but you could use.
some
Oh,
more
you
to
could also
add?
you could also add this as a bedding border plant, because this one can be kept a little bit lower in the sense that it doesn't grow as super robustly and quickly like the green. It's it's moderately fast growing, but this one's fast. And so you can keep this, and it's a great cool plant because it's silver and it's so different. So you can use it as a striking contrast. So it's a great striking border plant. Yeah, really cool in that regard. If you want to use that as I did it for a friend in Hollywood where they had a courtyard, and we used this as a background plant to contrast the other plants in front of it. Yeah. So I think we talked about most of the stuff there. Yeah.
We're going to plant care.
Plant care.
Right over to Rachel again.
Okay, so the silver has a hardiness zone of 10
B.
to 11, and what is the B for, Uncle Mike?
So in Florida, we have all these zones from 8 all the way down to 11. It grows a little bit further south than the green buttonwood, which can handle a little bit more cold. We'll throw up on the screen here a map of the grow zones within Florida. And to speak to what Rachel's saying is that these are just different layers of where these plants will grow as you go from warmer temperatures to colder temperatures. And so this one is a little bit less cold hardy than the other, but they're both not super cold hardy. That's their kryptonite, is that they don't grow in Central and North Florida. Either one. Yeah.
Good to know. And for light preferences, it also likes full sun, but it can do with a light shade.
Yeah, but this plant wants more sun than the green buttonwood. If you were to want to to have this look, the silvery gray look, keep it in full sun. Yeah, but it can handle light shade. It doesn't want to be in deep shade. Then it gets a little leggy. Yeah.
For watering, the first year after establishment, you're going to water deeply once or twice a week, and then you hardly have to water at all.
Yep, same thing like the green buttonwood. Super tough, doesn't need a lot.
And also like the other buttonwood, it is a very adaptable with soil types, but it thrives in a well-draining sandy soil.
Mm-hmm. And similar to fertilizer, right? Rach, on the other ones, these have similar needs in that regard. Yep.
But if you are going to use it, use a balanced mix, which means
a 10-10-10 slow release would do fine. Your plant will do fine with that, but only do it like typically in the spring or when you can through your municipality when they say it's a good time to fertilize. And we have one more, which is
2 more.
Oh, we 2 more. Oh, pruning. Thank you.
Pruning.
Oh, thank you.
You only need to prune lightly, but you can prune as you want to fit your garden.
Yeah, so if you're doing this one as, like I said, an accent border, you'll prune a little bit more. I like a rounded top to the shape. And a lot of people just do a box when they're doing a hedge. I like to do the hedge as a trapezoid, an inverted trapezoid. That way sun gets all the way down and you get leaves down to the base. A lot of people will prune a hedge like just a rectangle like this with a flat top. And then after a while, these leaves out here on the top will start to grow, and then that shades the growth of the leaves, and they won't grow leaves at the bottom. So if you can, tell your gardener, or if you're trimming your hedges, if you grow this as a hedge, do it on a slight angle, especially on the angle that faces the sun, so that you grow leaves all the way up, and then you can just round the top, and it forms just a beautiful look. Yeah, really cool look.
And then the last one, Rich?
The last one is pest control. This plant is very bothered by pests, but if it is, you can treat it with some insecticide oil.
Yep, you can use the neem oil, insecticidal soap, but on this one here, the silver buttonwood in particular, we got this one I wanted to show you, and we'll show you up close. This gets sooty mold much more than the green buttonwood, but you can see that little dark look there? That's sooty mold. Typically they handle these things without. They're like, again, super resilient, super tough plants.
I know you talked about planting them in the ground. Can they remain in pots around your house and outside?
You could, because they're drought tolerant, but don't keep them in a black pot like this, the container pots that you buy them at the nurseries in, because the sun will they're drought tolerant, but they're not immune to not having any moisture, and they'll dry out pretty fast. So if you put them inside a container like this, I would definitely step this up. These are in 3-gallon containers. We would step this up to a 7-gallon, I would, or a 5-gallon pot, and add some nice, well-drained loamy mix and a sandy loamy mix, and you can keep them in there. But typically these are not used as that, but the silver is probably more so. And if you get a big enough low squatty pot, the silver buttonwood as a small ornamental tree would be really cool in the garden, I think. Yeah, in a sunny location. This is so exotic looking. Yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention about features that I forgot. These have a really cool sinewy bark. I'll show you this now in a video. It looks like these thick twisted cables. It's really cool. Such a cool plant in that regard. It's just wild looking. As they mature, they get this really cool look to their trunk. And with that, I think what we should do now is, since we spoke all about this, I think we should encapsulate it into what?
Written care instructions.
Written care instructions, and we'll show you all that all up to bat right now. And we'll then come back and just do a quick closing at the end. So let's go on to that step.
And we're back. With its tropical flair and adaptability, the Buttonwood cousins are soon to be a favorite addition to your garden.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So go ahead, plant a piece of the Sunshine State coastal charm and watch your landscape come alive.
Watch your landscape come alive with these beauties. So with that, we want to thank you for stopping by, but does anyone have any questions? I don't know. Here?
I have a question.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. So we'll zoom in for this question. But you can see where the leaves sprout out that the bark turns a different color from a green to a woody, barky color. Why is that?
So that's a good observation, Rachel. This is the plant growing, and as she grows, it's going to have a green stem. And then as she gets older, that's going to transition into a woody, more bark-like appearance. So she's looking at a transition area where the plant is growing so much that it's starting to transition into the structural part where it will actually hold the plant upright. As this new stem, the green is a little more flexible, but as she grows and gets woodier, this becomes more sturdy and becomes more of a structural feature of the tree with age. It's just the natural way that these guys adapt to survive. Love
so
these plants.
cool.
If I didn't say that before, love them. I'm so glad that you guys stopped by to watch this. I don't know if you have any more questions, Rachel or Amy.
Nope, I'm good.
Stephanie, what do you want to say? Do you have anything
If
to
you
say?
like and subscribe.
She's always good for that because I always forget to ask you guys, and we want to thank all of you for supporting our channel. It means a lot to us, and we're glad again, like I said, we're glad you stopped by. And until the next video,
Bye.
bye-bye. Here are the bloopers. Yeah, this is yours. Oh God, this is why I'm nervous all the time. What? I didn't mix these up. I had them set up here perfectly.
Did you just see? It's on
Oh.
video. It's on camera.
Hey, bee. There's a bee visiting us.
We got us.
Why is the bee going to the Buttonwoods? That's crazy.
Okay.
Hi. Day
Now.
300.
Welcome or welcome back, my brother
Do it
Mike.
again.
What?
You said welcome or welcome back.
Yeah, because not everybody's been here before.
Good point. I'll be quiet.
That's your bloopers.
This is going to be the whole video. Stephanie.
All right, here we go. Are we ready?
This is the
Okay.
best we got. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And tell your friends and family. We post videos weekly. Thanks.